Every agency is adopting AI right now, and I'm starting to notice something interesting. Most teams are spending real money on tools, training people, running pilots, and then looking around and realizing everyone else did the same thing. No lasting advantage. I'm Chandler Nguyen. I spent 18 years in advertising managing billion-dollar media budgets. Then I taught myself to code and built free AI products from scratch while keeping my day job as a VP. So I've seen this from both sides, the agency side and the builder side. And I think the problem isn't the tools, it's the operating model. Let me show you what I mean. Think about a parade. One person stands up to see better. The people behind them stand up too. Soon everyone's on their tiptoes. And nobody can see any better than when they were sitting down. Except now, everyone's uncomfortable and tired. That's what's happening right now. You adopt AI reporting tools. So does your competitor. You use Claude for media planning. So does every other agency pitching the same client. The advantage neutralizes instantly. So you hire a better AI person or buy a premium tool. But guess what? Your competitor does the same thing next quarter. I don't think the answer is better tools. I think it's something that doesn't copy as easily, something that compounds over time. Let me show you the framework. Before I get to the operating model, you need to understand what AI can actually do now, because it's changed dramatically. AI today doesn't just have a brain, foundation models like Claude and Gemini that can reason and generate. It now has eyes. It can see screens, images, video. And it has hands. It can control browsers, manipulate files, type, and click. When I built my iOS app, Claude Code could see the simulator, read build errors, and iterate visually. When I built Stratum, that's my marketing intelligence platform, AI agents could navigate ad platforms and pull campaign data. This isn't theoretical. AI can now see and interact with the same interfaces your team uses every day. And that changes the fundamental question from what can AI do to what should humans still own. Here's the ratio I keep seeing in my own work. AI handles about 75 to 80% of the volume first drafts of analysis, reports, plans, creative, audits, all the heavy lifting, fast, good baseline. Now I'm sure this varies. Some operations might be 60-40, others might be 85-15. But across the work I've done and the teams I've advised, the pattern clusters around 75 to 80%. And here's the thing, that human 20 to 25% is not overhead. That's where the actual value concentrates. It's business context that AI doesn't have. What does this client actually care about? What makes them look good to their leadership? What's the political angle we're missing? It's strategic direction. Which questions do we even ask in the first place? And it's quality judgment, catching what's technically correct but strategically wrong. When I built the course recently, AI handled about 75% of the production, slides, voice, video assembly. But every decision about what to include, what to cut, the narrative order, that was human judgment. I could be wrong about where this ratio settles. AI does more every month. But from my experience, the human contribution doesn't disappear. It concentrates around judgment. And here's something teams often get wrong about who provides that judgment. Here's where most teams get this wrong. They assume the most senior person should validate everything AI produces. But that's not how platform validation actually works. I saw this firsthand. We had a brilliant strategist who could tell you exactly what the client needed, but she'd never configured DV360. So when the AI output looked right strategically but was technically misconfigured, she couldn't catch it. That's when I realized you need both. Senior leaders set strategy and own client relationships, but the people who can tell you if targeting is actually configured correctly, or if tracking is firing, or if frequency caps make sense for this specific market, those are often mid-level and junior specialists who live in the platforms every day. The operating model needs both strategic leadership and technical validation depth. The most dangerous scenario is when nobody on the team has the platform level expertise to check whether the AI's output actually makes sense. Now, If the human contribution concentrates around judgment, how do you make everyone's judgment sharper?
You give them context. I think every agency should experiment with building a centralized memory for each client. Brand guides, campaign history, performance benchmarks, planning principles, competitive analysis, creative feedback patterns. The more context AI has, the better its output gets. But here's the strategic angle that most people miss. This memory becomes a compounding advantage. The longer you work with a client, the more context accumulates, and the better the AI performs for that specific client. That's a switching cost. It's a moat. A new agency pitching your client starts from zero context, while you have years of accumulated intelligence. That's not something you can replicate with better tools. Now, I'll be honest, I haven't seen a full-scale version of this deployed at a major agency yet, but I've built a version of it in my own products, and the compounding effect is real. I think it's worth trying. What do you think? And if you're in-house, the same principle applies with a different payoff. It's not about client retention, it's about organizational resilience. When your VP of demand gen leaves, does all her knowledge leave with her? If it's structured in the system, it doesn't. Brand guidelines, campaign history, competitive context, all of that becomes organizational memory that persists regardless of team changes. Same architecture, different strategic outcome. Here's a heuristic I keep thinking about. Boris Cherny, who created Claude Code, that's the AI coding tool I use daily, argues that builders should design for the AI models 6 months in the future, not today's capabilities, the future ones. I think the same principle applies to your operating model. If you design your workflows around what AI can do right now, you'll be behind by the time you finish implementing. The direction is clear. AI gets more capable every quarter. The question isn't whether this transformation is happening, it's how quickly your team adapts. And adaptation starts with the right operating model, not the right tools. Let me recap. The parade popper means adopting AI isn't a strategy on its own. Everyone's doing it, and the advantage neutralizes. The real edge comes from something that compounds over time and doesn't copy easily. AI handles roughly 75 to 80% of the volume, but the human 20 to 25%. Business context, client intelligence, strategic direction, quality judgment. That's where the actual value concentrates. Your validation layer needs both senior leadership and technical depth. Don't assume seniority equals validation capability. Client memory compounds over time into a moat that new competitors can't easily replicate. And whatever you build, design it for where AI is going, not where it is right now. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear what you're seeing at your agency or on your team. Drop a comment below or reach out on LinkedIn. And if you want to go deeper, I put together a course around this entire operating model. It covers each phase of the campaign lifecycle with worked examples and comes with 16 downloadable templates, a workflow audit, vendor scorecard, 90-day rollout timeline, and more. Module 1 is completely free. You can watch it at chandlerandnguyen.com. Links in the description. Thanks for watching. If this was useful, consider subscribing. I'll be sharing more frameworks like this. Cheers.